Hey guys, and we are live. So this is the first time I'm actually going live here from direct from YouTube. So I'm not really sure what I'm doing. I'm gonna give it a second to see people hop in, and then we'll go ahead and get started and pull the drawing for the giveaway on Patreon. Um, I'm gonna play the sound bowl a little bit just to get it ready. I have all the names inside of here of everybody who's signed up for Patreon. I really want to just thank all of you. I am absolutely mind blown. Hi, Kelly. I am absolutely mind blown at how many of you signed up without me even having like a video yet or anything. I thank you all so much. Hi, Kimberly. So yeah, I was just kind of taking a moment to thank you all again for supporting me. I am just mind blown at how many of you signed up. And before we get into the drawing, I am going to play this bowl for a little bit. I want to just really quick give a little shout out to Rachel. Where is her oil? Over at Havstones Will Travel and her new page, The Morphogenic Witch. She sent me this abundance oil that she had made. It's called the Wealthy Witch. And I don't really often do a lot of like spell work for myself. I know that I'm called like the Cosmic Space Witch, but like most of my magic is getting into alignment with the stars, finding a balance, and then any sort of like spell work that I do is all revolves around like protection, release, healing, and then like manifestation. But like I'm always very clear that I only want what's in alignment and that I'm not trying to go against anything. So I've never really done any sort of like real abundance spells. Anything that I've done has been more to like release blockages, and that is what I used this oil for. I used it to dress a candle that I let burn while I made the video about my Patreon. And I just did a little bit of like a abundance blockage candle spell, which maybe we'll do in one of our Patreon sessions, maybe during like Taurus season or something. But I let it burn during the video, and I shit you not, as soon as the video ended, my and I sat here for a little while, like doing a couple of things on my phone. And then my boyfriend came in and he's all, "Oh, is this fan off for a reason?" And I didn't really think at first, like, yes, it was off for a reason. I have a fucking spell burner here. I really don't want to blow out. And he like goes to turn it on, and I was like, "Oh no, 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 wait, this candle, it has to blow itself out." And as soon as I said that, I looked over and it was finished. It just was like, "I'm done." And it just like finished before he could turn the fan on. And I was like, even the divine timing. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is that her oils do what they say they're going to do. I very much feel that I removed some sort of blockage and everything is flowing much easier. So I highly recommend checking it out. She works with the phases of the moon and the cycles of the moon and the signs of the moon to make her oils. And she also uses herbs and different plant allies that work along with astrological cycle as well. So she is all out of the abundance one, but what she does have right now is a light worker oil. She's working on a starseed one, and I forgot what her other one is. I think it's like a twin flame or like a heart expansion oil. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely going to tag her Instagram below this video, and I recommend checking them out. And it smells phenomenal. So anyway, I just had to do that. Thank you, Rachel. I love you. All right, so I'm just going to play this crown chakra bowl a little bit here. I have everybody's names. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 4 names. So the first name I pull is going to be for the big drawing. That way everybody has a chance to win because all their names are in here. And that person is going to win one of these talisman. I think if I turn this light off, it might look better. I'm getting a better camera, guys. Bear with me. So one of these talisman, I have a selenite protection amulet. This is a crown chakra amethyst and moonstone amulet. Oh, this one also has turquoise. And this is a shadow work amulet, which is made with smoky quartz and quartz up at the top. It's like to help transmute darkness to white. And then we have a tiger's eye here as well. So the way it's going to work, if the person who wins is in here, they can claim the one they want now. And then we can kind of do it that way. And if they're not, I'm going to let them pick. So I'm just going to write it down. I left it over there. Hold on, I have to go grab this. I'm just going to write down your names and then I'll message you. So the first winner is going to win the bundle. So they're going to win the session with me, an hour-and-a-half long Cosmic Alliance session that comes with the 3-month transit report, a t-shirt, which we'll talk about in our messages, and one of these amulets. And then the other 3 people are going to win one of the amulets, and it's going to kind of go in order. Whoever gets picked next gets to choose from what's left. And then if you aren't one of those 4 people, if you email me, my email address is thecosmicspacewitch@gmail.com. You email me before the 7th. So our next video is going to be on the 7th, and it's going to be an astro forecast, and that's also the day I'm going to be mailing out a lot of these packages. So if you email me before the 7th with the subject line giveaway, and you email me your address, and then roughly what size t-shirt you are. I like men's t-shirts, so I don't really have any like really small ones. But I'll try my best to get a size that is close to what you want. I'll send you a t-shirt, everybody who emails me before the 6th. I need to go grab my notebook over here and then we'll do the drawing. And let me look at the chat. Oh, a manifestation oil. She offered it to me and she said it would work for abundance as well. Awesome. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Kelly. Oh my gosh, you make my life so much easier. Kelly is making us a Discord, you guys. So Kelly is like super tech savvy and she is making us a Discord, which is an app. Somebody had asked me. It's an app that gamers use to be able to like chat in like kind of like a chat room type setting with different subjects. So I've known other astrologers. Aliza Kelly has a similar Patreon that she calls the Constellation Coven, I think. And she has a Discord and has different like topics. So like there'll be like a tarot section and people could be like in there chatting about tarot. There'll be like an astrology section or like one on aliens or like conspiracies or whatever it is you guys want to make. And she is like tricking it out. She's going to have like all these different things in there. It's super rad. Like things I would have never even thought of. We appreciate you, Kelly. Thank you so much for all that information. And yeah, so I got the paper. I wish everybody the best of luck. These names have been sitting in here all day with this lithium quartz, and I just programmed it with the intention that the person who would benefit the most from this giveaway is the one that wins. And that's how I do my magic. And then I'm going to pull some cards after. All right, so let's see who wins the. Oh, well, one jumped out, so it's definitely this person. Nicole, I don't know how to pronounce the last name. It's Nyul. So if Nicole's here, she can message in the chat which necklace she wants. If not, I'll just DM you and we're going to continue on. So I just want to write this name down. We got a jumper. Nicole. Congratulations, Nicole. And I will definitely be messaging you about our session. I'm working on like a PDF that I send out to clients beforehand with like a little bit about like where your journey is, where you want to go, and different things like that. So we kind of know where to structure it. Also, like your birth information. So I could pull a chart and kind of see what's going on and run the transit report and all of that. Congratulations, Nicole. All right, so the next person is going to get one of the talisman. Might be messaging you tomorrow to see which one you want if Nicole's not here. And another jumper. I like this. It makes my job easier. All right. So this is Jenna. So I just wrote down the name that you call yourself on Patreon. So this one didn't have a last name. It's just Jenna. So is that you, Janelle? I don't think so. Maybe. Okay, so number 2 is Jenna, and we have 2 more for the talisman. And then, like I said, everybody gets a t-shirt. You just have to email me. My boyfriend's making them all. He designed all the designs. He's a really, really, really good artist. He's a tattoo artist and just like overall super creative. And he made my logo and he's made all my t-shirts. And then he also has his own clothing line that he has started. But then this whole thing kind of popped off. We're still working on getting him a business license. But he's been developing it like since he was a kid. And it's called Invasion of the Difference, is how you pronounce it, like making a difference. But it's spelled difference, like we're doing it different. And I love it. So I have some of those shirts too. They have like little UFOs on them, or it looks rad. So if you want one of those instead of one of the cosmic ones, I have those too. Thank you, Kelly. All right. So number 3 is Kelly. Yay! Kelly wins. Congratulations, Kelly. Kelly Smith. All right. And then the last one, I'm going to be giving giveaways all the time. I'm about to set up my Patreon goals. So I wasn't really sure how to do that, but I'm about to set up like when you reach certain amount of patrons or like a certain amount of money a month, um, you have different goals. Like some people are like, oh, I'll get a better camera or like editing software and I'll release this video or this or that. So I'm definitely going to have like giveaways sporadically and then like little goals for me to meet. I really want to join Rick's apprentice program. Rick Levine, he's the Patreon page that I follow. He's my favorite astrologer, and he has an apprentice program that's like $100 a month, which is a big bill for me. So I think that's going to be one of my first goals is to join that. And when I do that, I'm definitely going to be doing another big giveaway. So we're going to have lots of chances to win things, but let's find out who this last person is tonight. Yay, Kelly. And the last person is Mandy Daniel. So congratulations, Mandy. I'm gonna go ahead and write you on here, and then hold on, I can't do two. Certainly not if it involves spelling. Good. Oh, thank God for spell checker. You guys wouldn't even have posts from me. Anyway, congratulations, Mandy. So I'm going to go ahead and message everybody individually on Patreon with pictures down the line. And yeah, if you didn't win tonight, you still won. Just email me and I will send you a t-shirt. And again, thank you so much for signing up with my Patreon. I really appreciate all the support. You guys have been just like unbelievable. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Hey, Mandy, you're here. Congratulations. All right. So I'm going to pull a couple cards. Probably not going to be too late tonight. But yeah, I'm going to pull a couple of cards and then, yeah. Oh, I wanted to tell you. Okay, so yesterday during my live, I was talking about this movie that I was watching about wizards, and I was like, I'm not sure where they're going with this. I'm gonna wait and see how it ends, and if I like it, I'm gonna post it. And then I did my whole live, and I'm sure you guys were there, so you know what my whole live was about. And then last night, it's Pisces full moon. Of course, I'm gonna watch a fantasy movie. And I watched it and it blew me away. Like, you guys have to check out this movie. It's like a two-part, I think it was on TV. I think it was made for TV, like on Sci-Fi Channel or something, but it's called Earthsea and it's based on this novel and it's phenomenal. Like, total twin flame story about like uniting the masculine and feminine and the light and dark and integrating shadow and reclaiming your magic and like the need for magic and faith. Like, oh my gosh, it was phenomenal. It was like literally everything we were talking about in the live last night. So I put a link to that on Amazon Prime, but it might be on um Netflix or things like that, but check it out. You guys like that kind of stuff. I love things about wizards. Like, it's like my favorite thing. Oh, Janelle started In Plain Sight. I saw your IG. I really wanted to see the wizard one. Watch it, Janelle. In Plain Sight is another thing that I posted today. That is a YouTube series done by DG Young, who I don't really resonate with many other intuitives or psychics, and I certainly do not agree with everything she says. She had a fantastic video out today that I'm almost done with, but I'm going to post a link for you guys. But there are several things that she says that I don't agree with, but for the most part, her research is top notch and she gets it, and she has a series called In Plain Sight where she dives deep into the dark occult underbelly of our reality, and she shows you how this shit is blatant. And if you are really trying to figure out what's going on and be able to kind of like decode this reality, she has some really good building blocks for that. So I highly recommend checking that out. Everybody should watch that show, but not everybody's ready for it. In Plain Sight is so good and informational, especially to know with current events. Absolutely. It's spot on information, 100%. Dark occult and children, yeah, 100%. I don't, like I said, I do not agree with most people, but I can drive with her. And even the things that I don't agree with her with, I respect her on it because I'm just like, oh, I can see how you could think that. And I totally respect her on that. When most other people I see, like, no, you're doing that out of a service to self mindset is why you believe that. Her and I just see things a little bit differently on some things, but for the most part, she's phenomenal. I have learned a lot from her, a lot. So I linked that on Patreon as well. And then feel free to like comment in the chat, especially like I linked the Dark Crystal and also that other movie. Like, I am totally down to like dissect the symbolism. I want to find out how to physically like play movies on my screen for lives and then like cut and be like, okay, you guys see that, because I that's how I watch movies, is I like dissect the symbolism behind a lot of it. So that is one of the things I want to do, but I haven't been able to figure out how to do the sound because this stuff is kind of heavy. Yeah, it's super heavy and it has like lots of triggers. So like you have a lot of like childhood trauma around a lot of that stuff. Like, going slow. And you have to be in the right headspace. Like, it's certainly not something you're gonna want to like just chill and watch at night to relax. It's like you're gonna be red pilled. Same, Allie, same. My husband gets so annoyed because I pause it and talk forever. Yeah, and I also have to pause to Google, pull charts, see where the sky was like on that day. Ooh, where is this person's um, sun, moon, and rising? And I'm like, my boyfriend will start talking. I'll be like, wait, when's their birthday? I don't know. I'm like, well, I can't fucking register all the things you're saying and psychoanalyze to see if I don't know their fucking birthday, because then I don't know why they're doing the things that they're doing. And he's like, not everything is about astrology. I'm like, nah, dude, everything is about astrology. It just is. I'm not telling you. Anyway, so I'm pulling from a couple of different decks. This one I'm going to read the description from the book because it's really good. But it's the Syrian Starseed Tarot, and it's based off of the regular tarot, but it has like a starseed twist. And her synopsises are really good. So I'm going to read that, and then I'll pull a couple of cards, and we'll probably call it a night. I always pause and talk through movies. It takes a special person to be able to handle that. At least I pause, okay? He is Gemini. Okay, every boyfriend I have ever had, our main problem was that I've talked too much. And they would hang up on me on the phone. I wouldn't even know. For the longest time, I'd still be talking, and I'd be like, oh, dude hung up on me. And it was always that I talked too much, too much, too much. This man, he has never once ever complained about that because he can't, because I never get a word in edgewise. I listen to him talk all the time. He'll talk through the movies too. But he's like, well, why are they like, he's just, I'm like, I'm watching the same movie you are. I know literally the same amount as you know because we've seen it. I don't know where this is going. It's a story. They're only telling us this now. At least I pause it. He just talks over it. But I love him. I don't watch movies, so it has to be something I actually want to watch, like all the fun stuff. Yeah, I don't really watch movies or TV unless it's like about magic and they have to be saving the day and it can't be dark magic. And if there's evil witches, there has to also be a good witch to balance it out. Like, there's just so many different things. It has to be particular. I was always the kid that would watch the same things over and over and over and over again and read the same books over and over and over again and listen to the same songs over and over and over again because I liked them and they were what I was about, and I never ventured out. So anyway, went off on a tip. But yeah, check those out and then let's talk about them. But I do, there's got to be a way. I've seen people do it on YouTube before where they've dissected a movie. I've even seen Gigi, she shows things like that. And I don't know if she's editing it together or if she's doing it live like this. I would like to do it live so we could all talk about it, but I'll have to look into it. I figured out how to use that software and I was impressed. Oh, I have the dialogue memorized. Okay, my favorite movie, and I legit have the whole dialogue memorized and the music. I had the soundtrack and I used to make my sister, I used to choreograph dances for my little sister. I would make her dance to it. And it was Ever After. I don't know if you guys remember that movie, but it had Drew Barrymore in it. And it is a Cinderella story, but Cinderella has some balls and she's like a heretic, like revolutionary. And she like changes the mindset of the prince and she like gets people rights and she like reads this book, Utopia. And she's not a damsel in distress. She actually has to save him at one point. It's super rad. And that was my favorite movie. I can't even tell you. I still have it on VHS and Blu-ray, but hundreds of times I watched that movie. Yes, late 90s, 100%. All right, there's our card. My favorite two cards. We'll read both of these. So we got Karma. Very Pisces. Look at that card. And then we have Strength. I'm going to read these from the books. That movie is like my favorite movie. I am not exaggerating when I say that I have every line of that movie memorized. And in drama, class because I was in drama and art all through high school. I did a monologue from it, and I definitely have that memorized. And if you guys are lucky, one day I might do it for you. So let me read these. And I have the entire first season of Bewitched memorized word for word because I had it on VHS as a kid too, and I only had the first season for like the first year, and I watched it over and over and over again. So Karma came out first. I was like a total nerd. Like, oh my god. And then the Harry Potter books, those are the ones that I just read over until it fell apart. Like my first book is literally the whole spine is fall apart. And I can look at it from here. It's right there on my bookshelf. All right. And Karma. Starseed has come full circle. Step by step, lesson by lesson, she has explored the life process and grown into the human experience from each example the keys of life had to teach. Just as now, she has outgrown it, preparing to return to the stars. But first, this is a time of reckoning, a time of facing the karma created through the journey. While religions teach us that this is a moment when the almighty judgmental God weighs our good and bad deeds to determine our cosmic faith, Starseed knows that when we stand only before ourselves throughout our lifetimes and beyond, answering only to the karma we have created, cause and effect, show to us in other moments on the path are show to us in other moments on the path are once again our esoteric model. Cause and effect. Oh, cause and effect shown to us in other moments on the path are once again our esoteric model, as they were in the key of divine justice. This key, formerly called judgment, is closely related to that card. As we open our own karmic cachet, which gently ripples back to us from the slow waters of our soul, we determine whether we have truly learned the lessons we came here to learn, preparing to ascend from this level of consciousness, or whether we have yet to explore more spins on the wheel of reincarnation in this three-dimensional realm. Is this the hour of resurrection or rebirth? When this masterful key appears, it speaks very much to the question of healing old karma to clear the muddy waters of the past and prepare the way for a huge leap in evolution. Forgiving others and oneself is paramount here. The person is invited not only to look at karmic bonds, but also to understand that only he or she will answer for them, most likely by having to repeat and repeat until the lessons are learned. Words associated with karma include judgment, forgiveness, honesty, facing oneself, and reckoning. Questions the seeker might consider are the following. Do I walk my talk? Have I learned how I have created everything in my world? What are the karmic lessons to be learned? Have I learned them? Am I truly ready for a transformational epiphany? Where is my next station in the greater scheme of things? Have I healed old karmic patterns and forgiven myself as I have forgiven others? So this card really speaks a lot to what we did last night, right? So we're really purging and letting go and starting a new cycle where we can either break free, release with the moon that we had last night, purge so that we have room to manifest with the new moon in 2 weeks for Virgo, or we don't, and we don't get to manifest, and we get to repeat the fucking cycle again next year or in 6 months or whenever it comes back up again for us to be repeated. So you're being asked to level up. All transits, all lunations, any sort of astrological impact is never there to just screw us up. I get really, really pissed when I see all the Mercury retrograde posts and all of that, that just like, oh, it's Mercury retrograde, it's here to fuck you up, or oh, I blame it on Mercury, and all this stuff. And it's like, dude, you weren't working with him at all. Like, well, you fucked that all up. Mercury retrograde is a really great time to level the fuck up. And right now we have a shit ton of planets retrograde that are all going to slowly be going direct right as Mars goes retrograde. And these are going to be intense. Okay. September, we're going to talk about this on the 7th, is going to be the rest of the year is going to be off the charts. Okay. 2020 was off the charts, but this last stretch here, and we also have eclipse season coming up, is intense. And if you're a regular muggle out there and you don't know what is going on, you're probably going to be coming up and butting up against a lot of this energy. We have to constantly check ourselves and constantly know, like, oh, this is a lesson from Saturn. Okay. Karma. This is Mars trying to get me to, do something different. Like this is a Neptune retrograde. Oh, I'm ready to shatter this illusion. Like, we need to realize these things are happening for us and not to us, and then we can start to work with them. If you guys go outside, every night I have been looking up at the sky, but I mean, I do that every night. I don't know why I'm saying like it's a new thing, but lately I have been going out there to walk the dog, and I just take a moment. And if you look and up at the sky, you're going to see, at least if you live here in the Northern Hemisphere, you're going to see Jupiter and Saturn. They're going to be those two big bright stars in the sky. They're not stars. It's Jupiter and Saturn. And they look about like this right now. And they're just slowly getting closer to each other. And they are going to conjunct on the winter solstice at the end of the year. And it's going to be a big, profound turn of events for structures and powers and the turnover of something. It's going to be a lot. And if you look over a little bit this way from those stars, you'll see an orange star that is not a star. It's Mars. And I kind of just take a moment and I legit talk to the planets. I'm like, hey, Saturn, like, what's up? Like, I know you're over there, like, giving it to the system, you know what I mean? I know you want us to learn some lessons. Like, let's just teach me, because Saturn's also a teacher. He wants to work with you. He wants to teach you. Um, and so far, I'm able to kind of see beforehand, and I'm not always perfect, but I'm able to kind of like check myself a little bit. Oh, Kelly says, I love Mars. She's been sending Reiki to him to keep him cool, and I talk to Mars too. And I'm like, hey, bud, like, I know you're square, all this Capricorn council going on, and it's heavy. And I know you really want to go, and you're in Aries, and you want to just be that like pioneering and like, rah, let's do this. And I know like Saturn's giving you a hard time, bud. Just chill. You're going to get your chance. And I just so that I can see it in my reality, like physically connecting with them. So I recommend giving that a try. Stargazing is also a really great way to forge relationships with these stars. Sirius rose recently and is now up and visible in the sky, and different things like that. This is just the kind of stuff I do. So our other card is Strengths. Not the time to burn shit yet. Not yet, but after December, um, that's when I think the gonna be. Once that vaccine mandate comes out, that's when people will finally come together a little bit. And also, I think it's also gonna take some other things, but that's gonna be a big one. And that's gonna happen at the end of the year, but I'm sure they'll wait till after the election. Okay, so strengths. Yes, after a couple more bumps. Yeah. People can't figure it out yet, but if you're paying attention to other countries, like what's going on in Australia right now, that's already the new world order there. Like, I don't know what much more they can do. Those people have legit no rights, unless the only worst it could get is if they all were shipped to literal FEMA camps tomorrow. But what they already are dealing with is already the definition of the New World Order, other than they're not microchipped yet and they can still make their own money. But other than that, it's real bad. And yeah, Europe is up in arms and totally protesting in the streets, massive amounts, and our media is not speaking about it at all. And yeah, we're over here still fighting about everything. Oh man, it's frustrating. They can take people's kids in Australia over COVID, but it says, or other reasons not limited to COVID. Fucking scary. Yeah, and Dwayne sent me this article today about these new CDC guidelines that are being implemented into public schools here in America, um, for emergency sleep over situations where you have to have all this shit at the school for your kids in case they decide that it's safer for them there, and that they'll lock down the school and they'll all sleep there. And it's COVID related. It's not like before when they had these like emergency earthquake kit type things where you could still come pick your kid up unless there was like an active shooter. um so yeah, it's insane. But people still don't see it. I still say this to my family and they're just like, okay, Allie. I'm like, you guys have eyeballs? But I've watched the news recently, like actual news, to see like, and if you watch that, like, yeah, you're gonna think all these things, you know? If that's the only place you get your information from, like, you're gonna think all these things. And it's sad. That's why I keep mine online. I don't care about the virus. It's about all the other shit. Yeah, for sure. The school, it's crazy right now. My fucking daughter is reading Hunger Games for her, like that's the part of the curriculum. I can never say curriculum. Um, and I Googled it. So she came home, and first of all, she's tried to read the book before. She's going into seventh grade, and she's tried to read the book before. And I told her, no, you can't read that. And I told her why. I'm like, they're trying to brainwash you so that you help make this apocalyptic dystopian world. They're trying to program you for this. And your brain is too powerful. You're too magical. And I don't want, you can't read that, you know? And she's like, okay, she knows how I feel about like AI and apocalypse. You know what I mean? So she comes home and she's like, oh, I get to read Hunger Games for school. And it's assigned to us. And I was like, what the heck? And so I Googled it. I Googled Hunger Games Los Angeles School District, LA Unified School District curriculum. And it pops right up, except for it's supposed to be for ninth and 10th graders. And they were reading it during the summer of 2020. All throughout the summer months, that was what was um, like, what's it called? Assigned reading for these kids. And then my kid got it in the fall. And I was like so mad. I sent him to go talk to the teacher. I was like, first of all, she's the wrong age. It says right here it's supposed to be for ninth and 10th graders. And second of all, what the fuck in this climate? Even if that, and I read it, but teachers have been teaching it for years. So I was like, okay, that's one thing, but maybe in 2020, not. These kids are already traumatized enough. They're literally at home on the computer because the world is ending before their fucking eyes. And you're going to make them read a book about the fucking world. Like, whatever, man. Fuck that. I went off on a tip, but that's where the world's at right now. The book is too dark. Yeah. I we her dad and I tried to watch the movie and we were like, what? No, this is fucked up. I want to watch this. Did they think it worked on them? So they went younger. Too dark, especially during that time. Yeah, it's messed up. Stick with the classics. Yeah, like 1984. Yeah, it's crazy, but even that, we read all that in school too, Lord of the Flies and um every dystopian book we read. They've been programming us for this from the get-go. But a lot of that does have to happen to take down this very systematic system that's in place here. It is going to be dystopian. We just want it to be not a authoritarian dystopian timeline where we're living under a fascist regime. That's the New World Order. We want it to be some sort of transitionary period where we've transitioned into a higher level of civilization. And I don't know how that looks. I don't think anybody really knows how that looks. It's going to take a lot of people coming together to figure out what that looks like and what it entails for us to get there. People ask me all the time, well, if this is true, what can we do? How are we supposed to do that? I'm like, I don't have those answers. I'm an astrologer. I'm just telling you the like, somebody else needs to help here. I don't have every answer. Like, we are collective conscious. Like, I don't know. Are you open for a discussion instead of just like being like, no, we have to do this? I don't know. Anyway, people trip me out. So, not an agenda forced on us, not a murder. Yeah, for sure. But it makes sense with the people they are putting into the school district in LA. We need more Aquarian minds. Yes. I put home. It's powerful to imagine what kind of world we want to live in, but ignorant to assume anyone has all the answers. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I don't think we can even have any business having the answers when we haven't even asked all the right questions yet. Like, we don't even really know all the questions we need to ask because so much stuff has been hidden from us, and we're just starting to see what that all is as this veil gets pulled back. So, how can we expect to have all the answers when we legit don't even have all the questions, you know? All right, strength. I don't know where that came from, but I appreciate the conversation. So, this card is really pretty. I wish the camera was better. So beautiful. The tiger. We need our real history. Yes, we have to prepare for it to get worse before it gets better. Yeah, a lot of what I have been studying lately is history, because as an astrologer too, like you really do have to study like historical cycles to understand transits and stuff like that. But the more and of course that's why I started with diving into history was to understand transits, and I've actually always loved history, just didn't like it in school because they made you memorize all those dates, and I can't do that. My brain doesn't work like that. I'll just check out. So I was not good at history in school, and I asked too many questions, and they didn't like that. But once I started teaching myself stuff, I loved history, and I found more answers or like connected more dots studying history from like not mainstream historical researchers. They're off the tip a little bit, but they're also not like people on ancient aliens, actual credible archaeologists. Um, and like watching documentaries on physics, quantum physics, on space, and then like you take a little bit from like all these different things and a lot of mythology, a lot of symbolism, and then you kind of start to have an idea of what's going on. But that's the only way that things started making sense for me. But history is a big thing because then you really start to realize how little you know. You're like, wait a second, like why? And I see them teaching my kids this stuff now too. And even my kids know. They're like, oh, look what they taught us today. Like, this is nonsense. And I'm all like, yeah, nonsense. And they're like, well, I just got to learn it for a little bit. But, that's all we can do is like slowly try to deprogram ourselves. So, Homo sapiens is considered the intellectual master of Earth biology, the highest form of consciousness of all primates. Yet we still have not managed to learn to control and calm the savage beast within. This is like Mars square Saturn and about to go retrograde so that we could really process a lot of this stuff. That's what I'm feeling right now. Yet we still have not managed to learn to control and calm the savage beast within. It is a lesson Starseed has come to learn again and to remember. How are we the beasts of our own passion? And from where do we truly glean our strength to dominate the jungle animal within us? Also, a lot of shadow we've been working through with this Pisces moon, and we talked heavy about that last night, so you guys know. How are we the beasts of our own passion? And from where do we truly glean our strength to dominate the jungle animal within us? Through the reason of our higher selves and the unconditional love of the heart. The strength key speaks to us of the power of love and how the impulsive animal self is embraced and soothed to the softness of the feminine yin spirit. Always prepared to strike, the tiger yields to the grace of the feminine form, and she, naked and vulnerable, before the beast fears not. The animal, forceful, the animal, forceful self and the loving, gentle self merge as the two aspects of the greater whole. This key teaches us that inner strength is as much about gentility, and grace as it is about force and fierceness, the vital and even sexual animal response associated with the strength key are the words self mastery, compassion, self awareness, understanding, respect, and courage. Questions to consider when this key appears in a reading are the following. What are the primal needs that try to dominate the higher reflection of my consciousness? And how do I nurture the beast within me, calming the primal instinct? How am I demonstrating strength in this situation? So we're going to be talking about that a lot in our next live, and we're going to be really processing that a lot as Mars stations retrograde and goes retrograde through Aries. We're really going to be processing where a lot of these shadow traits and primal instincts, whether it's aggression, rage, frustration, my emotions often manifest as frustration and that anger often when I get frustrated. So that's my Mars traits, and I feel it a lot right now. Um, and I know that I've been processing it a lot lately. So I know that we're going to be going through that in these coming weeks as we process a lot of the astrological energy that we have coming up. So we'll talk about that more in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna pull a couple of these little starseed cards and then a sigil, and we're gonna call it a night. I appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to prepare you to be the worker bee and concern where they're not training us to be revolutionaries. Actual history radicalizes you 100%. That was when I was just like, oh, like I'm a heretic. Like, what the fuck? Like, I am just like, I get down with anybody who went against the system, and you really see like those people didn't, oh, this deck's all mixed. Um, didn't ever really get to flourish much. They were always really silenced, you know? Those are the people that I resonated with. I don't know how this happened. Okay. So prepare quantum physics. Yes, saw something on Prime. It was Hermetic Teachings with Quantum Physics with fire. That sounds cool. Where did you see that? Can you send me the link? I have my dad's Prime password. I watch stuff on there. All right. Okay. Here. Okay. So we have choice and transcendence. I love these little starseed cards. Let's give a look at the messages. So choice. By staying conscious of our thoughts or of your thoughts, you guide your journey in the direction of choice. So I think that really speaks to what I've been talking about a lot, and you guys are going to hear me say, is that astrology helps us know what's going on. I don't know. This world was really confusing for me. And my mind, my reality, all the people in it, the world, none of it made any fucking sense. And I was always looking for answers. And I was like buying all these self-help books. And it's so funny because all the self-help books are like, buy all the new age books. But like, I used to think all that shit was bullshit, like total nonsense. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I was like, no, psychology and science and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's all nonsense. And the only like, although I was obsessed with Harry Potter and magic, but I didn't think like that really was real, you know? And I'm going to talk about this when I go into my rabbit hole dive later this month about like my journey. But I thought astrology was nonsense because the only reference point I had was like scope, like crappy teen magazines that like the girls at school read. And I would just be like, those are all the same. Like that applies to everybody. That's just nonsense. And it wasn't until like I figured out what actual astrology was and I seen some stuff which we'll talk about that it started to click. And then from there, the more I learned about that, the more I understood myself. And then once I started to like compare that to like the reality, I was like, holy shit, like things make sense. And then when I know the astrological influences that are currently happening, I can make the right decisions. So we know when we have planets in a square where we have them battling out, right? And we know that the foundation will topple if it doesn't have the right outlet. We know that like oppositions need a balance and we know what those energies are and we know how we can make the right decision so that it's a level up. It's a crumbling so that you can then awaken from rock bottom, which is also always an option, you know? And it's sometimes that's primal foundation to build something new. But staying conscious of our thoughts so that we can make proper choices is where we need to kind of be right now because it's slowing down now that Mars has station retrograde. But Rick Levine always says, he's the one I hear say this, so I do want to give him credit for it, that when planets station retrograde, they literally are like not moving for like a long period of time, days at a time, before they then start going in a backwards fashion. And when they station direct, they're like literally standing still before they then start moving in a direct fashion. And when they're at that still point is when they're at their strongest. So Mars is practically still right now, which means he's strong, which means he wants to fucking do something. And usually he doesn't think it through. Now he's pioneering and we need his action. But sometimes he doesn't think it all the way through. So right now we need to be conscious of our choices. Saturn is there and Saturn's like, yo, dude, like, I'm really not here to totally fuck up your shit. I'm just here to like check you and I'm just gonna keep like checking you. So are you checking your thoughts? Are you making sure you're making the right decisions here? You need to be conscious of this. We can't just think or act without thinking. So over this next Mars retrograde, the whole rest of the year, eclipse season, the things that are coming, you need to make sure that you're thinking, double thinking, checking, never. I mean, of course, you're following your intuition, right? You are moving with the flow, but any kind of big thing that you feel the need to want to do right now with all of this astrological influence we have going on, just reconsider, check it, make sure you really want to do that every which way, but know that it's the right decision. Um, and then we have transcendence. Yes, I was really into it younger and I lost myself now coming back after my tower. Yes, I told myself to stay aware of myself. I'm doing pretty good right now. Yeah, I have to do that, you know, constantly. And being an astrologer helps, you know, because I cannot go type a whole post about like all this stuff and then go do the opposite thing. Like, there's no way my higher self will let me do that. It would make me feel like shit. So even every time I drop the ball, every time I do something, I'm reminded like, oh, you know, Saturn just did that to you because you weren't paying attention, or you know what I mean? Like that was a Mars thing. You could have had a lesson that you learned there. You know what I mean? Or it'll stop me beforehand. I'll be like, okay, I need to just walk away right now because I know there's a Venus Pluto opposition, and it's probably better not to get into a power struggle right now with a loved one. Just little things like that. When before I would have been like, you want to pick a fight, let's pick a fight, and you never know where that's going to end. So Pluto has transformation where you can transform into something higher and more involved, or you can transform because it was obliterated down to the ground and now you have to rebirth something. Which brings me to transcendence. I'm just kidding. Transcend your mind's limitations and allow your soul's light to truly shine. So we're being asked to work with our mind so that we can transcend the mind, right? It's a weird paradigm. The way out is through, and we're never going to be able to get out of this matrix of the self and this matrix of the world if we don't fully understand it. So retrogrades, which this year you guys have heard me call it the year of the motherfucking retrograde. And this year 2020 altogether is just locked us up in a house, gave us a bunch of retrogrades and a whole bunch of traumatic events, also dug up a whole bunch of traumatic stuff from the past, had some major energetic pull, I mean, nodal shifts that aligned with the galactic center, eclipses on the galactic center, a great conjunction at the end of the year, which also brings me back to the Dark Crystal, which is all about a great conjunction, by the way. So I highly recommend watching that movie because we're living it right now. It also has a lot to do with like adrenochrome and living off of others' life essence, and it's just the movie all really is the plot of the movie we're living. I mean, the reality we're living right now. But the only way out is to understand in, right? So these retrogrades have pulled us into ourselves so that we can just take what isn't us out and allow what is us to truly come in so that we can transcend this 3D mind of, you know, this mundane world and really tap into our higher self and channel that pure creative source energy and truly awaken to whatever this light age is that we are entering. We are in the end of the dark age. We're in the end of a Kali Yuga cycle. You can tell everything is shit. It's super fucking dark. From there, it's up. So whatever this next chapter looks like for us, a lot of people think different things. I don't really know. I really do think it's just going to be a flow state. I've felt that before, or it was just purely in flow during the major beginning stages of my awakening. And I am going to talk about that when I go through my rabbit hole. But that is what I feel we're all heading, where we just all feel that interconnectedness and we just know that we are one with all that is, and we can see things for what they are, and we can understand fucking our past. I think that the reason why people are so lost is they don't really know where they came from. They don't really know their true ancestry, their true history. We don't know ourselves. We have a whole bunch of different myths that all contradict each other, and it makes it even more confusing. And if you want to get even close, you're in the esoteric realm, and then you're trying to figure it out through symbolism. And the history is a whole bunch of people arguing with each other about what is true, and we don't know who we are. So to transcend, to truly get to this level of transcendence, it's really going to take unlearning a lot. And these retrogrades are there to purge a lot from us. That's going to be the key of the coming years. It's just like, how much can we unlearn? And then how much can we learn about the truth, which is going to be heavy and dark. How much of that can we transmute and integrate? It's going to be a lot. But I went off on a tip again. I don't know. Yes, everyone just needs to let go of it all and let's flow together. That's why this awakening is important, and their thoughts and beliefs are so important. Yes, all timelines are possible, 100%. Any qualified astrologer or intuitive that I know is not is at this point, when before they would make predictions about like, oh, there's this transit coming up in 2025 or 2026, let's say, but years before, they'd be like, and I think this is going to happen to the economy. I think this is going to happen to this or country or whatever. And now they're just like, we're going to wait because I mean, everybody's waiting to see how the end of the year plays out. Um, and from there I think we'll have a better idea of which one of these timelines we're on here. And I still very much believe they all are going to end eventually in the same place, but the timelines that our children are going to have to live to get there, I would like to be nice, and I think that some timelines are much, much, much longer, and they involve a lot of maybe like Hunger Games scenarios, when like other ones, maybe if we take other ones, it's a quicker path there if we get enough of that, like, um, Aquarian brotherhood and unity to come online, which I think that this great conjunction at the end of the year at 0 degrees, 0 degrees is the beginning. It's the beginning degree in astrology. 0 degrees is a profound energetic degree in astrology, and it marks profound new beginnings. And these great conjunctions, I don't know the exact amount of years, but they have been in earth signs for like a ridiculous amount of time. I'd have to Google it or look it up in the book over there on the bed to know exactly how long, but however long, it's been a long damn ass time where every 20 years we have this great conjunction, and it's been in earth signs, earth signs, earth signs, earth signs, very earthy and 3D. And this is going to be the first great conjunction in an air sign, and it's going to be at 0 degrees of Aquarius on the winter solstice, when the sun is going to be aligned with the galactic center. It's the profound day, with profound eclipses and transits leading up to it. So I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that there's going to be a vaccine ready around that time, and that hopefully that Aquarian conjunction is us coming together and doing something to change. It's going to be some sort of big changeover. And they know that. You got to remember, these people are occultists. They use electional astrology, just like I ordered Heather, by the way. Check out Heather, Astrology with Heather, here on YouTube and also on Instagram. I ordered her electional astrology course to pick the perfect day to launch my Patreon. There's like a plethora of different kinds of astrology, and I mean, I'm very new to astrology and still very much learning. I have not dove into like electional astrology or different forms of like Vedic or sidereal or anything like that. Um, and it it was, first of all, done very great. The way she has the calendars with the perfect stars, and then she even has the charts for perfect times of the day, and she explains like why all these transits are perfect for like this type of launch and this type of business if it revolves around communication, or maybe this if it involves around more of like a creation, or maybe for like a marriage, or different things like that. And she breaks it all down, and I learned a lot, and it picked my date. But it also got me thinking about how they pick dates for things. They know when Mars is there and angry, and if they do something crazy and it goes viral, how things are going to break out. They know that if they release something on a certain day, the astrology is primed for whatever, the collective to do whatever. They are trying to trigger us throughout this whole year as well. So we need to make sure that we're being smarter than the system, because they know that this is a great conjunction year. And when that happens, there is a chance for a huge power changeover. And we, the people, could take that power, or some other occult faction, which right now I see some switch in occult factions taking the lead with being the ruling elite right now. And I don't want either. And there's a lot of people who are promoting the agenda of one or the other. And I'm here to say fuck you to both of them. So, anyway, of course, I went off on another tip, but I'm going to read this card one more time. Transcendence. transcend your mind's limitations and allow your soul's light to truly shine. So to truly get to that light, we have to go through our fucking shadow, right? And we just gotta dive in. To get to the transcendence right now, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do here in the real world, and Virgo season is opening our eyes to that. This next Virgo moon is going to help us do some tangible shit and plan some tangible intentions and do some like physical service here in reality, where we all live right now and it's not that great. Um, and I forgot what I was saying. Oh, and we need to dive into the shadow. We're never going to get to transcend this if we don't do the work. So that's why I'm pushing myself so much to get out here and do this, even though I'm not super comfortable with it still, you know? And because I feel it really is now or never. I feel like I have a mission, and I know a lot of you guys do too. And I see a lot of people coming out of their shells. We also have to remember to go in our shells too. This is a lot of personal work. This is not a fad or a trend. This is like a full blown like lifestyle, not just like, that's not even a good enough word. Like, not even identity. Like, this becomes your mission, your purpose, and it will demand you to sacrifice your shadow. And it's a lot of work. You're sacrificing it for your light. You're integrating it. You're making friends with these traumas and this darkness within our reality, and then you're helping to expose it, because a lot of these things that are coming to light, most people like they can't even fathom. They're like child trafficking. What's that? Secret societies know what that's not a thing. What, say dark magic? Like, you're crazy, and they just can't even look at it. And it's because they haven't even started to even tiny look at the darkness within them. They can't even fathom that, let alone fathom what is truly happening around us. So we're here to be the guiding light in this transcendence. And to truly do that, we have to start to transcend ourselves. And you guys will hear me say it all the time. It's about the shadow, and it's about aligning with the divine cosmic blueprint that is your chart. When you have a reference point as to why things are happening and what you're supposed to be releasing, really working with the lunar phases helped me so much. And that's when I was able to just kind of like, I never knew what to do. Like, well, what am I supposed to do? Now I know, like, oh, it's this season. I'm supposed to be, and I'm constantly doing something. I'm always making one step forward, um, because the cycles are moving forward. And now I'm in tune with those cycles. And that helped me so much. And so I really just want to help you guys do that. And in the simplest way, we're going to have a journal. We're going to do tiny little things here. It's not going to be some crazy thing. It's going to be simple and hopefully very effective. So you guys are great. There's so much false light out there. That's why you're important. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the false light, man. Whew. And I know I give them a hard time, but the only reason I can truly see it is because I got sucked in too, especially in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, I was watching all the Gaia videos, and I was really into like David Wilcock's show, like before he went full blown QAnon. I followed QAnon in the beginning too before I really figured it out. But I was just able to be like, wait, no, because the things only make sense for a second, and then if once you follow it long enough, you can be like, wait a second, like what? Absolutely not. And then you have to pull away from all these things, and you're forced to go into yourself. But a lot of these pages that would be considered like these false light pages that we're talking about, they haven't done that. They're either getting all their information from books, um, ascensionglossary.com, YouTube, other YouTubers or people like that, and they're repeating it, and it's become a religion. They're like, well, didn't you know that this star system did this in the galactic war and blah blah blah? I'm like, fuck, you know that? Well, I read it here. Then that's not a thing. You don't know nothing. Nobody knows that. You can't possibly say that. It's just like saying that anything in any sort of religious text was a factual event. You know what I mean? It's just mind blowing that these people are trying to escape a matrix by sucking themselves right into another matrix. And it wasn't until I tried to find these answers to all the weird shit that was happening to me. I dove into all the stuff that the people got sucked into, and I had to pull myself out of each and every one and then dive super into just the research for myself. And it's a lifelong thing. It's like a full-time job. And not everybody can do this. Not everybody can try to decode their reality. Most people just want to log on to YouTube and see whom their favorite influencer says the reality is today. And we're just here to like fucking question everything. That is what our Discord is going to be. Where you guys are going to, we're going to have a whole thing about what are the rabbit holes we're going to dive into. People have been already messaging me like different things, and I'm like, oh, that's so great. I'm going to add that to my Trump. Um, I'm going to hold on. Who was it? Who was it? I think it was Flora. Is she in here? She messaged me today. We were talking about censorship, and she was like, "Oh, I was wondering who owned Patreon." She's all, so she Googled it and she like found the guys who owned it. And then now it's like partnered with this big corporation. And apparently that corporation is partially owned by like Jared Kushner's brother. So it's like totally connected to like the Trump administration. I was like, oh, of course. But we're gonna do this together. You know what I mean? We're gonna ask all these questions together. You guys are gonna pick the rabbit holes. We're gonna dive in, and then I'm gonna tell you, like, we had okay, this rabbit hole's on this, and if you guys want to find things and message them to me, I will add them in the rabbit hole, and we're gonna ask all these questions together. I am not here to be some sort of like spiritual guru. That's why I called it the Alliance. Like we're co-inhabitants of this realm and we're just doing this together. I do not want to be any sort of like that, you know? I just want to find the answers, and I know I do not have all of them, but when I work with like other people, you know what I mean? And I have conversations with people about different things, it sparks so much. You know, that Lionsgate video that I did became a two-part and then a three-part because after mine, people dove in for themselves and then they were sharing different things with me that then had me like branch off on a bunch of different more stuff and we connect even more dots. And then since then, I've found even more about Trump's family and his coat of arms actually being the lion and all this crazy stuff about the occult connections of Trump Tower that I'm going to have in my rabbit hole on him. It's going to be, we're going to dive in. But anyway, I'm so excited for all of you to be on Discord. Discord is going to be great. I can't like always reply on Instagram. I have so many DMs right now and I just like it's overwhelming. I can't even get in there. There's so many down below. I'll probably never even scroll down that far. It stresses me out. But for the Discord for Patreon, like I will be in there. You were the only one I saw that didn't believe it. Everyone was so Lionsgate. And I'm like, see, but the thing is, like, I meditated on Lionsgate for years in a row. The first time my children ever meditated was on a Lionsgate. And it's because you see these posts and they're like, the sun is aligned with Sirius and the Galactic Center and the Great Pyramid and like all this stuff and meditate at this time. And you're just like, holy shit, that sounds amazing. Like, okay, I'll go meditate, you know, and you tell your kids, this is so cool. You want to come meditate with me? And then you're like doing this. And I did it for like multiple years before I became an astrologer, before I found out where Sirius actually was. And I did a lot of that information. And then I was just like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. And then I really looked into it and I'm like, this is the biggest new age, like what you would consider this new age community holiday. These people supposedly followed stars. They don't even know where they are. And it's total bogus. And then um, really diving into the occult and like things like Gigi Young's In Plain Sight really helped me tie a lot more things together where you can really see what are rituals And when you really understand like the esoteric and the occult and like the unseen, where like portals are a real thing, you know what I mean? And how siphoning energy is a real thing, and how your attention being directed to something is legitimate, and you understand the symbolism behind things, you're just like, wait, none of this makes sense. Why am I doing this? I'm not going to give this my energy. And, a lot of people doubled down after my video was shared so much. You guys shared it so much. Thank you. I can't, they didn't share it at all. They blocked it left and right. But it's like 10,000 views, and it was like all from reshares. And I mean, a lot of it was people like, oh my God, look at what this person is saying, sending it to like all these different pages, like Magenta Pixie, Luna Ash, and all these pages. And none of them would either respond. None of the big pages would even address it. And then a lot of pages were doing videos in like response to it, but not with any sort of factual information, just like really doubling down on the date. But then talking about exiting the Gregorian calendar through the galactic new year on the 26th, and then how 8-8 is the peak. And I'm like, but you realize those numbers 8 only exist because of that calendar that you're saying is bad. Like, you're not making any sense. So anyway, but other people were really, really receptive, and I saw so many different posts. When the years before, they all said very much the sun was aligned with Sirius and this and this. At least now people get the helical rising. I guess it's pronounced helical, not helical. I don't know, but whatever. At least people were starting to get that part right. But and the posts were more factual this year. I did a post on it last year, so some people did see that last year. But still, it's just like doubling down on some like random thing that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. That's when you start to question it, when there's just like, it's so much hype, it came out of nowhere, and it doesn't make sense. So the pages really, they really wanted it to. And I'm cool with saying, hey, I used to believe something and now I don't. But I feel like a lot of spiritual people think, because they really do embody that, like, I am an enlightened soul, I channel this divine entity, I am ascended to 5D or 9D or 12D or whatever fucking D they're in, and I am this being that has this divine knowledge that I am bestowing upon you. So then when that divine knowledge that they've shared for years is then like questioned, the cognitive dissonance comes online, and they just can't address that as not a thing. And I understand this as it's like a layer. Like, I had my profound like awakening experience, and I understood some stuff, right? But then, like, that stuff I thought I understood, I started to understand more and more and more as I take off more layers and I learn more knowledge and I incorporate it all together. And then I started to get a more picture, and I still don't know shit. You know what I mean? And we're figuring it all out together. And that's the only way that I know how to do it. And that's the only way I'm willing to do it, because I'm not trying to pretend to be something I'm not. I've only been doing astrology for a little over a year. I say that like my switch just flipped one day and I understood it, and now I'm trying to learn all the technical aspects. And so I'm working with like Rick Levine, and I'm doing different like courses, and I'm just trying to like go backwards and learn the stuff that people would have like already learned. Um, and it's a lot, and it's like a full-time job. And then I have a lot of other eclectic things that I like, because my astrology is weird and I have to tie it in with a whole bunch of other stuff, because that's the only way it makes sense to me, because I'm so galactic. But my south node, with that connection to the super galactic center, I think it just has me like, I gotta ground down. Like, I'm always trying to ground. All right, I'm gonna pull a sigil and we're gonna call it a night. Great doc on Prime called Portals, by the way. Oh, those are good. Kelly, um can you link those in like the post on Patreon that has the video, the movie that I posted? Can you link the links like in a comment to the things that you're saying? Because they all sound super awesome. Trust me, I want to work in my path and learning, but it was just negative. Like me, why is everyone that's farther along in their path doing this? You know what? And that's the thing. Like, I thought that too. And all the pages I used to follow in the beginning of my awakening, who I thought were like, oh my gosh, they're so awakened, blah blah blah, their third eye, they decalcified their pineal gland, and oh, their light body is activated, all this stuff. And I used to think all this stuff. And then I had my awakening experience, and then I started to try to figure that out for a long time. And now I've unfollowed all those pages, and I think they all don't know shit. And some of them I think are just full blown like snake oil salesmen, like completely either hijacked by a false light entity that is like physically using them for their agenda, um, or just completely making shit up. Yeah. A lot of the pages that I used to follow, I'm just like, oh no, 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 no. I think really the thing right now, and these eclipses in Gemini and Sagittarius are all about releasing your beliefs and questioning everything. Gemini North Node is there to fucking question everything. And the Sag South Node is there to just release a whole bunch of these like dogmatic beliefs. And even these New Age ones, it's just the church in sheep's clothing. It's the same thing. It's so fixed and dogmatic. And if you don't believe they're a version of whatever galactic history or whatever it is, then you're in the Illuminati or some sort of demon or whatever. You know, they have a lot of different things. All right. So yeah, we're just here to ask questions, and you know, maybe we'll piece some pieces of the puzzle together, but like I'm all about asking questions, healing the self through release and aligned manifestation. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So the elements, aligned manifestation. So the elements of fire, air, earth, and water combine to create powerful protective boundaries, both spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. This sigil is perfect for what I just said. Legit. All right, guys. So I'm going to message everybody who won. Congratulations. I appreciate you so much. Oh, it's 122. 222 is like my number. And it was 1022 right when I said that. I like twos a lot. They were very instrumental in my awakening. I don't have many friends, Phoenix, but my best friend is like, you do you, girl. I just follow on my own signs. My friends do not understand. They think I have it all figured out. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I follow random numbers and stuff. Like, for real, dude. I'm just like, oh, that must have been a sign. And you know what? It's panning out. I don't know what to say. You know, I'm following the signs and synchronicities, which were really profound and just like electric in every which way I turned in the beginning of my awakening when I was really just blown open. But now that I've like kind of back down to reality, I have to look for them and I have to keep that path going and I have to really interact with it. And they're there. And if you follow them, I mean, I don't know how it works. I don't have the answers to how it works, but I know that there's a flow that you can get into. And I'm not always in it, but I'm constantly coming back around to it. I know it's there, and that's what I'm constantly working toward. I could write like 3 paragraphs on all my Neptune signs over just the past 3 days. Yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Now that my YouTube channel is up and it looks like I can just like do lives and save them without it like glitching or being censored, I'm going to be doing a lot of like free ones. Like this one is just like free one. It's not a Patreon video on here, but they're not going to be like scheduled or like anything like that. But some cards, talk about the astrology, go off on all my tangents, you know. And then, of course, we'll have our scheduled ones. I was supposed to send out the schedule of the month's videos. I think I have it here. No. Oh. there. But I know the next one's on the 7th, and that's going to be the astro forecast. And then we're going to have the new moon one a couple of days before the moon. And then at the end of the month, right around my birthday's on the 29th, I'm going to be 33. It's my Jesus year, of course. And let's just hope it ends better than his. Although he was like resurrected and got to leave this wretched planet. Oh, I'm just kidding, kind of. But we're gonna have it. That's when I'm gonna have the rabbit hole one found at the end of the month, and then I'll just talk about myself. I'm gonna do a post on Patreon where you guys can just ask me all kinds of questions because I don't really remember a lot of my childhood, so I don't know how long I could talk about my story. But then if you guys ask me questions, I'll go off on tangents. So I need some questions from you guys. We're gonna make this interactive. And Kelly, thank you so much for all your help. So amazing. I can't wait for the Discord. You guys are so great in the chat. We're going to have a fantastic time over on Discord and appreciate you. Watch that movie Earthsea. It's super rad and I want to talk about it in the comment section. And also watch The Dark Crystal too because that one was really instrumental in my awakening and I think that it's a lot about what we're going through. And I would like to also talk about the symbolism in that. And so The Dark Crystal is a movie from 1982 by Jim Henson, who's like the creator of the Muppets and all things awesome. I'm a big Jim Henson fan. And then they just did like a reboot type prequel Netflix show called Age of Resistance, which is like in the timeline of the story, it takes place before the timeline of the Dark Crystal. So watch that too, and we can talk about what you guys think. which one of these stories you guys think we're living right now? Y'all, those puppets freak me out. I just don't know if I can do it. I love the puppets. I love the puppets. I'm a big fan of the puppets. They had last year, it's actually like right around the summer 2018, right when my awakening like started. They had a Jim Henson exhibit at this museum in LA, and they had some of the original puppets, and they had the Aughra puppet, which is like the creepy witch with the like third eye thing. And she was so big. I didn't realize how big these puppets were. Like they were huge. And it was so detailed. It's just amazing. I've seen them like make the puppets, watch the documentaries on that. I like it. But I had seen that movie a bunch of times. And I was just like, oh, this is a cool movie. I like it. I like the puppets or whatever. But then like I was watching it like during my awakening. I was like, holy shit, this movie is our life. And then like now I just spend my life decoding all the movies. I'm like, what secret did they put in this one? And honestly, you could figure out a lot of stuff because they really do in plain sight. Watch BG's series too, and you'll really see how they just put this stuff in plain sight. And it's a cult thing. It's part of the magic. And they get you to feed your energy to that. But yeah. Let's see. Oh, they look pretty good, actually. I like the puppets. Yeah. MK Ultra. That's going to be one of the rabbit holes we go down. I have some videos that I would like to link to Patreon about that too. I like this guy, the Dark Journalist. He does a lot of good investigative work about like the government and conspiracy and things like that. But he does also tie it into the occult and things like that as well. All right, guys, I appreciate you so much. And we'll do more lives like this because this was super easy. It should save and I'll email you. Oh, don't forget to email me your address and your name, of course, and a size t-shirt you want. Like I said, I like men's shirts, so they're mostly like loose men's shirts, but I run a little bit small, And also make sure in the headline that it's giveaway so that I can search it and find it. Oh, thank you. And she put my email address right there. It's thecosmicspaceWitch@gmail.com. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Have a good night. I'm going to end the stream. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe because that's a thing I have to say now because I made a YouTube channel. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you comment down below, that helps out the algorithm. I appreciate you guys. Have a good night. Bye.